What's up, welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Your Friends and Neighbors Season 1, the drama series out in full on Apple TV+, starring Jon Hamm and his return to a lead television role for the first time since Mad Men. Your Friends and Neighbors, the latest at this point in a long line of high-profile TV shows from Apple TV+, starring big A-list talent. And this show seemingly will be another horse in Apple's stable at this point, already renewed for Season 2, already filming Season 2. So thankfully it seems like the show will be back every year in the more traditional TV model that we get less and less these days with big shows. That being said, Your Friends and Neighbors Season 1 is doing a lot, and I think this show would have been more successful if it wasn't in such a rush to communicate so much plot. There are so many characters and so many threads that are explored to a point. Meanwhile, Jon Hamm's Coop goes under several arcs to the point where his character's at a blank slate once again when the season concludes. It just felt like the show was in such a rush to, shake the deck, flip the board by the end. I was kind of hoping to more effectively lean down the crime lane, lean down the wealthy society lane. I'm not sure. It felt like it was doing a lot, and I still enjoyed watching it the entire time. I just think the show would be a bit more successful with more focus. One plot that I think is introduced in a surprising fashion would be everything with Elena, who discovers Coop mid-crime and towards the middle third of the season or whatever. And it's a fun cliffhanger to end that episode, but then her plot is resolved a lot faster than I would have expected, and her role in what happens to Coop's money is super, super neat, but her whole conflict is, I think, just underdeveloped. Again, similarly, you have the introduction of the art dealer as really just a plot device to get suspicion on Coop. And I think the way it ends with Olivia Munn's Sam character, her husband getting killed and Coop getting framed or thought to be responsible. I think that stuff worked okay. I just think a lot of there's things that are introduced in the show and then just kind of go away, like stuff with the pawn shop and stuff with the social club stuff, right? And meanwhile, you're introducing characters that I just don't think there's enough substance to them yet. I think chief among them would be Coop's ex Mel, played by Amanda Peet, who I think Amanda Peet's doing a fine job on the show, but her character somehow over the course of a few episodes comes back around on Coop. They were in such a rush to redeem Coop. Meanwhile, they're trying to set him up as this bad guy, giving him the voiceover right away, and yet he's really comes across as no different than any other character if you took away that voiceover. But having Mel go back to him, it felt kind of thin. The reasoning behind that. Similarly, you have the Nick character who Mel had been with, and you have him seemingly split from Mel by the end, but also completely cool with Coop by the end. And the show is just returned to baseline. I just didn't feel like it progressed all that much. And maybe that's what the show wants to be, I guess. But the way it introduced itself with I think the central premise, which was pretty appealing, of what if this wealthy guy is so down on his luck that needs to rob all his wealthy friends and neighbors to pawn off their shit that they won't know is missing. I think that was really compelling. I would have liked to see a lot more of that. But then by the end of Season 1, they introduced Coop to getting his old job back and getting all this back pay, and suddenly he's not broke anymore, but now he's just going to steal from people as payback, as just evidence in the last scene. It's all right. So in theory, Season 2 could be anything, but I just have no idea what that's going to be. I'd like more of Hoon Lee's Barney, Coop's financial manager. They introduced some stuff with his stresses about his life and his wife spending too much and them being over leveraged and Coop owing him money. And it's there was more paths to go down with that, And I think there's certainly really fun elements, when they all go out clubbing and doing coke just after saying F it. I enjoyed that. I think the stuff with Coop and Mel's kids is all right. The stuff with Coop's sister is all right. The show felt a little incongruous, again, as I said, unfocused, and I'm just not really sure what its main priorities were, especially when it just resets the deck by the end of the season. So I like the show. I'm looking forward to Season 2, And then more than anything, I'm just curious about what season 2 is going to be. You know, maybe they can iron out some of these kinks after seeing how season 1 went. We'll find out. But I think Hamm, it's great to be with Hamm in a leading role. Once again, obviously, post Mad Men, he did a lot of stuff where he took kind of like villain roles or antagonist roles, largely supporting stuff. You know, think of like Fargo or Top Gun Maverick, right? I would enjoy it if they let Koof actually be kind of bad on this show and not just be so desperate to redeem him at every turn when he does something bad. Like there's couching it. Just like let him steal stuff. Let him commit crimes. It's okay. Anyway, let me know. What'd you think of Your Friends and Neighbors season 1? What'd you like most about it? What didn't work for you, if anything? Let me know. And for more TV reviews, subscribe. And I'll see you next time.